So follow the series completely. Okay, let's start.
Firstly, sampling distribution. What is sampling distribution? You must understand that first. Sampling distribution is a process used in the statistical analysis in which the predetermined number of observations are taken from the larger population. Now, important word over here is predetermined number of observations. Remember this by heart. What happens? I must know how many samples I have to take. If I don't know that, then it would be of no use for me doing some sampling. I'll go on doing the samples. How many numbers I don't know. I'll take 500, then 1000, then 1 lakh. It won't end. So we must first decide where I have to stop. So predetermined number of observations are taken from the larger population. The methodology used to sample from a larger population depends on the type of analysis being performed. Now, understand this. Methodology means what? Here it means what type of sampling should I do? There we come with the topics of these random sampling, all the various types of sampling. I'll take them. Okay. So got it? Firstly, the concept. Okay. Okay. Now for a few things you need to understand. Sampling. Now suppose if I tell you to take some tea. Okay. I'll give you a cup of tea and ask you whether it's hot or not. What will you do? Will you take the whole cup of tea and drink it immediately to check whether it's hot or not? No. What will you do? You'll just take a sip of the tea. Sip, right? Hot. So if that sip is hot, it means the whole cup is hot, right? The whole tea is hot. That's the basic logic of sampling. I'll select those samples which will be indicative of the full population. Suppose if this is a city of 1 lakh, okay? Complete 1 lakh. If I do the sampling of whole 1 lakh, it is called a census. Understand the word. Census means when I do the sampling of each and every person. But when I am doing sampling as such, sampling word, when I am doing the sampling or survey, there I'll take the samples and I'll do the survey of those samples. I won't do the survey of all the population. Okay, got it? Simple. This is what the concept is here. You need to understand the concept first. Okay. Now look at this. Some important points over here. There are two parts. One is population and second is samples. Here, as I've showed you over here, this full circle is known as the population. 1 lakh people. And the samples which I take are known as, these points are known as samples. So this is the population as a whole and then we have sample. Now what are the terminologies used for the population and the sample? Look at it. Okay. Definition of population. Collection of all items. Full population. Suppose 1 lakh persons, as I told you over here. 1 lakh is the population of a city. So if I do the full population or survey of full population, it will be called as what? Then it will be called as census. And this is known as population. So it includes collection of all items. And here, part of the population, some part. Okay. What are the characteristics? Suppose if I take the mean mode of population, it is called as parameter. Suppose if I take the mean mode of sample, it is called as statistic. See here, mean, standard deviation of population is known as parameter. Mean, standard deviation of sample is known as statistic. We have various other statistics and these parameters. Mean, mode, median, all these are parameters as well as the statistics. Okay. Now how they are defined? Look at this. Size is always given as capital N is always for population. Small n is always for sample. Mean of population is shown as mu. Mu. Remember this is called as mu. And mean of sample is always shown as x bar. This you will see it when I will take the problems. Okay. There it's very important. Standard deviation is given as psi. This is called as psi. And here standard deviation is called as psi. But I'll tell you one more thing over here. Whenever I am taking anything for the sample, it is generally called as standard error. Remember this. If I have standard deviation for population, for my sample I have standard error. Okay. And we generally write it. You will see this when I solve the numerical. Psi dash. Okay. Psi dash. Okay. Now what are bias samples? Bias means what? Here we always say, no, this person is biased, My boss is biased. This is a general statement given by us, right? Boss is biased towards some employees, right? You have seen this. Suppose the parliament is debating on the women's bill. You are asked to conduct an opinion survey. Because women are most affected by the women's bill, you interviewed many women in different cities and towns and rural areas of India, rural areas of India. Then you report that the overwhelming 95% are in favor of the reservation of the women's bill. Now that is a bias sampling. If you ask only women about the women's bill, they'll definitely support it. Generally, that's a tendency. Okay. So that's the basic bias sample. So in here, what do we mean to say is that the population should be equally divided. If you are asking for those who are in favor, you should also ask for those who are not in favor. Okay. Otherwise, it becomes a bias sample. Now look at this. This sampling is of generally three types. 3 or 2 also we call it. Probability, purposive, and third is no rule sampling. Now no rule is generally not asked in exam. Probability and purposive is asked many times. Purposive is also called as non-probability. It is also called as judgmental. Here I'll write the words over here. Okay. It is non-probability also they call it non-probability. I'll just write non-prob. Okay. And next one is judgmental. Judgmental. Okay. That is also the another name to purposive. Now probability samplings are of 4 types. Simple random, systematic, stratified, and cluster. Now we'll study each one in detail. But before going ahead, I'll just give you the short idea about this. Simple random and all those. Okay. Understand one simple logic of probability. Probability sampling means that sampling in which every element has got an equal chance of getting selected. Equal chance. Okay. So every person, every individual, every sample will have equal chance. Now it is of 4 types. Suppose if I say in a class of 50 students, any 10 students, that becomes simple random. If I say every 5th student, means what? I'll tell them to stand in the row. I don't know. I'll close my eyes. I won't tell who will stand where. I'll close my eyes and tell them stand in the row and every 5th student come out. So that is all. That is known as systematic. Suppose if I divide that class of 50 students into marks, those who have got 40 to 50% stand here, 50 to 60 stand here, 60 to 70 stand here, and so on. So that will be called as stratified. I am creating strata, I am creating levels over here. Okay. And last one is cluster. Suppose if I tell them, those who are from Maharashtra stand here, those who are from Delhi stand here, those who are from Tamil Nadu stand here, those who are from this any state stand here. Okay. So this is generally cluster. Cluster is generally related to region. Okay. Now one important point I'll give you over here only, stratified and cluster. Within the same strata, they have similar qualities. Means what? 70 to 80% student, the student who is having the range of 70 to 80 will think similarly. They'll think similar to each other. Versus students who are having the marks 70 to 80 and the marks of 40 to 50. Their ranges will be different. Thinking ability will be different. So that's what is meant by stratified. 40 to 50% student will always think of passing. 80 to 90 will always think of scoring. So within the same strata, they'll have similar qualities. Within different strata, different qualities. Reverse is the case with cluster. Within the same cluster, there is a huge variety. Now somebody is from Goa. So in Goa also there will be a student of 80 to 90%. There will be a student of 40 to 50%, right? So within the same cluster, there is huge variety. It's exactly opposite of this stratified. Within different clusters may have similar qualities. Different clusters may have similar. Means what? Goa will also have some student who is 40 to 50 and MP will also have some students who is 40 to 50. UP will also have that, right? So within different clusters, we may have the students of similar categories. That's what is the difference between stratified and cluster. This question comes every time in the exam. Okay. Now, more about this non-probability. See this. I'll tell you later also. I'm having a separate slide on this. Convenience sampling, consecutive sampling, quota sampling, purposive sampling or judgmental, and snowball sampling. I'll give you a separate slide on this now only. Okay, and then we'll study each one. Now, simple random. We'll go in details now for probability because that's very important. Simple random sampling selects the samples by methods that allow each possible sample to have an equal probability of being picked and each item in the entire population to be included. Means what? Each possible sample to have of having equal probability means what? Just now I told you, any 10 students from the class of 100 students, any 10. So everyone has got a chance. So that's what is meant by simple random sampling. Each possible sample, see this, each possible sample will have equal chance. Very important part over here. Okay. I'll mark this. Hold on. Each possible sample, this one, has an equal probability of being picked. Okay. And each item in the entire population to be included in the sample. Correct? Now let's look at this for simple random sampling. Suppose if I give you this example. There are 4 teenagers, A, B, C, D. Any boys, you, anyone we can consider. Now I have to select a group of 2. How will I select? Group of 2 can be selected in these ways. AB, AC, AD, BC, BD and CD. This is the only way which I can select. Right? This you are having a separate topic of probability. There we'll study this again. Okay. So these are the groups I have selected. Now the question over here is probability of drawing these samples of 2 people is same as below. So means what? Suppose if the probability of selecting any 2, this BC or BD or AC, I close my eyes and I tell them to stand in these groups. And what happens? I close my eyes and select any group. Then what is the chance? Suppose if I want to select BC. Out of these 6, BC can be selected in only one way. So look at this. Probability of BC is 1 by 6. Similarly others. CD can be selected in only one way. So if you want to select the group, the probability is 1 by 6. Now look at this. This is separate. Suppose if in this group I make them to stand in group of 2s. And what is the probability? That I'll select A in this. Any group which I select, what is the probability that I'll select A? Single person. Now look at this. A can be selected in how many ways? AB, AC, AD. In all these A's there. So A can be selected in 3 ways, right? 1, 2 and 3. 3 groups. Out of how many? So 3 divided by 6. Now look at this. Very important part. This becomes a technical part. Okay. So A can be selected in 3 ways. 3 ways upon total 6. So 3 upon 6 is 1 by 2. So here comes the answer of 1 by 2. This typically is related to probability required upon sample size. Means success. I'll write it over here. Probability's formula is like this. Success upon sample size, SS. Okay, we'll study this when we study probability. If you want to write A, B, C or D on 4 identical slips of paper. Now here comes the next topic of this within the same random sampling only. The next topic which comes is sampling without replacement and with replacement. Now this common sense you can understand it. Without means what? I'll take 4 papers, 4 chits A, B, C and D. Okay. And slip of papers, fold the papers, randomly pick any 2. Suppose if I select any 2. And then what do I do? While picking up 2 slips, we may pick 1 by 1 and keep it away. Pick another from the remaining 3. Now remaining 3, what does it mean? Once I pick 1, I won't keep it again. So that's known as without replacement. And the second thing is with replacement. Suppose if I pick this slip D, okay, see the name in this and again put it inside that same jar. So then it will be called as what? With replacement. Don't we have this? We have seen this many times, right? With and without. Whenever I take any slip, I don't put it back in that box or whatever it is, right? So that is without. And this is with. We use the term infinite population now because this infinite population term is asked in the exam. when we are talking of about a population that could not be enumerated in reasonable time period. Now, what do you mean by this? Infinite means, what do you mean by infinite? Suppose if I say 1 lakh population, even I can call that also infinite. I say 1 crore population, I can call that also infinite. Although it is countable, infinite, what is the real meaning of infinite? Which cannot be counted. But if I say 1, I'll tell you, okay, tomorrow I'll tell you. You go and count the entire population of the city, wherever you live. Is it possible? That becomes infinite for you within reasonable period of time. Okay, so it cannot be determined within reasonable period of time, right? Thus, we use theoretical concept of infinite population as an approximation of a large finite population. Approximation of large finite. Got it? If my population is too huge to be done in a survey, so okay, I'll give you one more example in this. I'll tell you what you do. You do the survey of 1 lakh people in 2 days. 1 lakh people in 2 days survey. Go and ask each one. It's not possible. That's why reasonable period. So that becomes an infinite population for that 1 lakh people for that 2 days. But if I ask you the separate question, now same 1 lakh population, I'll tell you to do the survey in, let's say, 10 years. 1 lakh in 10 years. Then it doesn't become an infinite population because there the time period is huge. That's the logic. Okay. So there is nothing called as absolute infinite or finite over here. Okay. Systematic sampling. In the systematic sampling, elements are selected from the population at a consistent level that is measured in time, order, or space. Now, consistent level. What do you mean by this? Just now I told you when I gave you that separate this slide I showed you. Every fifth student in the class of 60 students, every fifth student will stand in a row and every fifth student will come out. So that's known as systematic sampling. So consistent, okay. Systematic sampling differs from simple random sampling that in each element, in that each element has equal chance of being selected, but each sample does not have an equal chance of being selected. Now, this is a problem with systematic. And this question comes in exam as a complete the following for 1 mark. Systematic sampling differs from simple random sampling that each element has got an equal chance, because I don't know which element will stand on the fifth of this means whenever I tell them to stand in the row, who will be standing fifth? I don't know. So that means each element has got an equal chance, but each sample does not have, because the one who will be standing fourth, he will not get selected. So each sample does not have an equal chance in systematic sampling. In systematic sampling, there is a probability of introducing an error into the sampling process. The system chosen may cause a problem. Now, these are all the complete the following questions or match the following questions. They'll give you systematic sampling. Then on the other side, they'll give you the probability of introducing an error. This is what is an important part in the systematic sampling. Remember this from the match the following or theoretical part. Okay. Advantage. This method may require less time and sometimes results in lower cost than simple random sample method. Right? Because systematic sampling, obviously we are not telling all the 60 students to stand and select randomly. We are telling every 10th or every 5th. So it means it will give me a fair chance and it will be fast over here. Okay. Stratified sampling. To use stratified sampling, we divide the population into relatively homogeneous groups called as strata. Now, what do you mean by this homogeneous? When we divided those students 40 to 50%, 50 to 60%, right? We did it just now. 40 to 50, 50 to 60. So what were we doing? What did I tell you at that time? Suppose somebody has got a percentage of 40 to 50. They will think in a similar way. But the one who has got a percentage between 90 to 100, the thinking of these two persons, these two groups will be totally different. But within the groups, they will always think similar. So this is known as homogeneous. Thus, when we use the then we use the following of the two approaches. So first we'll divide them into separate strata. Then either we select at random from each stratum a specified number of elements. Means specified means what? I may tell that from 90 to 100 we'll select 5 students. From 40 to 50 we'll select 10 students. So I might have already decided. That's why come back to the first definition of that sampling distribution, predetermined. Okay, I'll say 90 to 100 I want 5 students, 40 to 50 I want 6 students, 50 to 60 I want 10 students. It will be determination from my side. That is one way out. And second way out is we draw equal number of elements from each stratum and give weight to the results according to the stratum's proportion in the total population. Okay, so I can draw specified number from each separate group, or I can draw equal number. Every group 40 to 55, 50 to 65, 60 to 75 and so on. So equal number or specified number. When to use stratified sampling? When do you use this? Stratified sampling is used is an appropriate when the population is already divided into different sizes. Means already I have divided 40 to 50% marks, 50 to 60 I have divided. Then stratified sampling is useful. Okay. Example, middle class, upper class, lower middle class. So I have divided this already. So then stratified sampling is of use. According to age, race, gender or any other stratification, age groups may be 13 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40 and so on. Right? The advantages of stratified sampling are that when they are properly designed, they more accurately reflect the characteristic of the population from which they are chosen than any other kind of sample. So basically it is correct. Suppose if I choose 20 to 30 age group, so that thinking will give me the correct picture. Suppose if I want to design a jeans, okay, jeans pant. So which group thinks in what way? For that I have to divide it into various age groups and then I'll get the real answer. So that is that there the stratified sampling will be of best use. Cluster. We divide the population into groups or clusters and then select a random sample of these clusters. So first we'll divide them into these groups or clusters. What did I say earlier? It is similar to that of that regional geography based Goa, MP, UP. We assume that these individual clusters are representative of the population as a whole. Now, how do we do this? Now, this again you'll get this. What did I say earlier? Goa, MP, UP. We take a city map and divide the territory into blocks, right? So instead of city, I can take India map complete and divide it into various states. So it means again we are coming to geographical distribution and then choose a certain number of blocks for interviewing. Out of this, I'll choose which state should I interview the best or which area should I interview the best. Every household in each of these blocks would be interviewed, right? Comparison of stratified and cluster. Already I have given you. We use stratified sampling when each group has a small variation within itself, right? Stratified 40 to 50%, 50 to 60, 60 to 70. But there is a wide variation between the groups, right? 42% thinking, 40 to 50 thinking differently than 80 to 90, right? We use cluster sampling in the opposite case. When there is considerable variation within the group, Goa, MP, UP, but groups are essentially similar. Means in Goa also I am having 80 to 90%, in UP also I am having, in Tamil Nadu also I am having, everywhere, right? Basis of statistical inference. Simple random sampling, systematic sampling, systematic sampling and stratified sampling and cluster sampling. So basically systematic, stratified and cluster sampling, okay, attempt to approximate simple random sampling. So understand this concept. This concept is, let me cancel this. This part is a heading. Okay, yeah. So systematic sampling, stratified sampling and cluster sampling attempt to approximate simple random sampling. This is an exam question. In exam, they'll ask you Systematic sampling, stratified sampling and cluster sampling will attempt to approximate dash, and then the answer will be simple random sampling. Remember, these are the practical questions asked in the exam. The process of making statistical inferences is based on the principles of random sampling. Very importantly, remember, simple random sampling is the best sampling available in throughout the world. All these systematic stratified cluster are taken later. They are an approximation. Now I'll come to the second part. This was all that probability. Now this is non-probability. Now what is this? Let's see. Purposive sampling, also known as judgmental, selective or subjective sampling, is a form of non-probability sampling in which the researchers rely on their own judgment when choosing the members of the population to participate in the survey. So this is all judgmental. Suppose we see in that what TV shows, singing competition, dancing competition, what Naj Baliye, right? All those are there. No? What do we see in that? There are judges. Judges have their own judgment. They are the learned person. So, in form of non-probability sampling, where the researchers rely on their own judgment, own knowledge. So, this is judgmental sampling. Non-probability sampling is a branch of sample selection that uses non-random ways to select group of people to participate in the research. Non-random ways, okay? It's based on the judgment, simply, completely on the judgment. Now some other samplings, and these are also judgmental only. Snowball sampling is a non-probability sampling method where new units are recruited by other units in form of to form the part of the survey. So this snowball is asked every time in the exam, every time. This is similar to that of MLM, multi-level marketing. You know that, na? You say you do one person, then that person will do three persons, those three will do again three, goes on and on and on, right? So that is the same way. Where new units are recruited by other units to form the part of the sample. Second is convenience sampling. Convenience is the cheater. Who is the cheater? Is a non-probability sampling method where units are selected for inclusion on the sample because they are easiest for the researcher to access. What do I mean by this? Suppose if you tell me to do the survey of 15 persons in the city, 15 persons. And what do? I sit at my home. On, who will go, man? Who is near me? Neighbors. Bring all my 15 neighbors and my family members. So that's convenience. Okay, because they are easiest for the researcher to access. Quota is a non-probability sampling method that relies on the non-random selection of predetermined number of proportion of units. Okay, so non-random selection of predetermined number. Predetermined. Quota means what? Mumbai 100, this Delhi 100, this what UP 100. So quota means what? A quota is given to everywhere. Consecutive. This is a sincere guy. Sincere. This guy is a cheater. Convenience. And this is a sincere guy. It's very similar to convenience sampling, except it seeks to include all accessible subjects as a part of the sample, which sometimes are considered as the best type of non-probability sampling. So this guy won't stay at home. He will go to each and every accessible part. 15 people, I'll go to one corner, then other corner, and then I'll select the 15 samples from there. So this is consecutive. Sincere guy. Okay.
Everyone, welcome to Officer Adda 24/7. My name is Suprabha and I'm your ABM mentor. Hello everyone. So my name is Suprabha and I'm your ABM mentor. So today I'm going to start your module D. Okay? We have done so many questions from the module B, right? So I'm going to start your module D now. So in ABM, as you can see that there are four modules are there. Okay? Module A, module B, module C, module D. Okay? Module normally all these four modules are different from each other, like it is like a totally different subject. Okay, so your module D is having the 7 chapter. It covers 7 chapter from module D. The first is compliance function in a bank. Second chapter is that is compliance audit. Third is compliance governance structure. Fourth is framework of identification of compliance issue and compliance risk. Fifth is compliance culture and GRC framework. ठीक है, then right, then the next chapter is that is compliance culture and GRC framework, then compliance function and role of CCO in the NBFCs, and then fraud and vigilance in the bank. So these are the 7 chapter which we need to cover in module, right? 1 second. Right, so from this module the first question is from the NBFC chapter. The question is, what are the different layer in the regulatory structure for non-banking financial companies, right? That is based on their size, activity and perceived riskiness. See, last to last year in October 2022, RBI has regulated the framework of NBFC. Earlier, actually, it was a picture that RBI normally they won't interfere in the NBFCs, but after 2022 October, they have given the framework for the NBFCs company, right? Different layer of structure they have given. So there are four layer of structure, that is base layer. Okay, then we have the middle layer, then we have the upper layer and top layer. Okay, so all the non-deposit taking NBFCs are comes under the category of base layer, that is. Okay, then after that all the non-deposit taking which are having the asset size of 1,000 crore and above comes under the category of ML, and all the deposit taking NBFCs, all the deposit taking NBFCs, okay, that comes under the ML category. Then we have the UL category. Top 30 NBFCs comes under the category of UL. Okay. Now what about the top layer? The top layer is remain empty now, right? There is no NBFC in this category falling, right? So this the correct answer is that is option A. So this is the 4 tier structure RBI has given that for NBFCs. Okay, based on their size, based on their activity, based on their riskiness, and okay. The next is which entity are included in the middle layer of the regulatory structure for NBFCs, non-banking finance company. Okay, as you know that what is the meaning of base layer? See, the base layer covers that is all the non-deposit taking NBFCs which comes under the base layer. Okay, and all the deposit taking NBFCs whose asset size is 1,000 crore and above comes under the category of that is ML. And what about the UL and TL? See, TL is basically, that is UL is basically the top 50 NBFCs comes under this category, but top layer there is no NBFC currently. So what is the middle layer? Option A is all the NBFC engage in the lending activity. No, that is not the right answer. Non-deposit taking NBFCs with asset size 1000 crore and above. Okay. Then C is non-deposit taking NBFCs of any asset size, and all the NBFCs regardless of their activity and the asset size. So the right option is here is B. Non-deposit taking NBFCs with asset size 1000 crore and above. Okay. The third question is, how are the NBFCs identify and include in the upper layer of the regulatory structure? Okay. The option A is, that is by fulfilling qualitative criteria based on the asset size. B is thorough automatic inclusion of the top 10 NBFCs based on the asset size. C is using a scoring methodology that combine quantitative parameter, qualitative parameter and supervisory judgment. Then D is by having the highest credit among all the NBFCs. Okay. So how are the NBFCs identified and included in the upper layer of the regulatory structure? That is the third layer. Okay. Base layer, then ML, then UL is there, and the last one is top layer. Okay. So this is the UL. Option is by fulfilling the qualitative criteria. That is, then the thorough automatic inclusion of top 10 NBFCs, that is the correct one, right? Question is, under what circumstances can the top layer of the regulatory structure for NBFCs populated, right? See, the option A is, that is when there is a decrease in the, right, when there is a decrease in the overall systematic risk. B is when the Reserve Bank identify NBFC in the lower layer. Then the C is when NBFC in the base layer meets certain asset size criteria. And the last is when NBFC in the upper layer pose a substantial increase in the potential systematic risk. So what is the right answer for top layer? Tell me, what is the right answer? What is the right answer? See, option A is what? When there is a decrease in the overall systematic risk. Okay. Option B is when the Reserve Bank identify specific NBFCs in the lower layer. C is when NBFCs in the base layer meet certain asset size criteria. And D is when NBFCs in the upper layer pose a substantial increase in the potential systematic risk. So what is the top layer? It is D, when the upper layer poses a substantial increase in the potential systematic risk. Now the next important question from this chapter is, what is the regulatory change under the SBR, that is scale based regulation, regarding the minimum net own fund for certain categories of NBFCs, and what is the provided timeline for achieving this change? Option is, see, for net own fund, actually in the year of 2022, the RBI has changed the minimum net own fund criteria. Okay. So option A is the regulatory minimum net own fund for NBFC ICC, NBFC MFI and NBFC factor shall be reduced to 10 crore by March 31st, 2025. B is the regulatory minimum NOF for NBFC ICC, NBFC MFI and NBFC factor shall be increased to 10 crore by March 31st, 2027. C is the regulatory minimum NOF for NBFC ICC, NBFC MFI and NBFC factor shall be increased to 10 crore by March 31st, 2025. The regulatory minimum NOF for NBFC ICC, NBFC MFI and NBFC factor shall be increased to 5 crore by March 31st, 2027. See, The net own fund criteria, earlier it was 2 crore. Okay, earlier it was 2 crore, but now it is changed for, that is 10 crore now, and the timeline is given, that is 31st March 2027. Okay, then the next is, what is the minimum requirement for common equity tier 1 capital as a percentage of risk weighted asset that NBFC in the upper layer are required to maintain to enhance the quality of regulatory capital? Is it 5%? Is it 9%? Is it 7% or 12%? What is the criteria? Tell me. It is similarly like which we have done in the Basel norms. What is the answer? What is the right answer? See, in that case, the right answer here is, that is 9% of RW. Okay, this is 9% of RW, right? As we have done, similarly we have done in the Basel norms also. So similarly here itself, the NBFCs, they have, RBI has given the minimum requirement for common tier 1 capital as a percentage of RWA, that is risk weighted asset, that NBFC have to maintain the quality of regulatory capital, that is 9% of the RW. Okay, so the answer is 9%. This is a very important question. Which exposure are considered sensitive for the NBFCs? The option A is exposure to government bond and securities. Option B is exposure to foreign exchange market. Option C is exposure to consumer lending. Option D is exposure to capital market and the commercial real estate. So what is the right answer for this? Right? What is the meaning of SSE? See, what is the meaning of SSE? That is sensitive sector exposure. Okay, sensitive sector exposure, that is the meaning of sensitive sector exposure is, that means NBFCs, they should have the limit. Okay, they should have the lending limit, that how much they can invest to the SSE, means that is capital market, and okay, that is capital market, and that is related to capital market and real estate sector. Okay, so that is related to capital market and real estate. Okay, so what is the right answer in that case? See, the right answer here is the exposure to capital market and the commercial real estate. This is the sensitive sector exposure. Okay, that is called it as a SSE, sensitive sector exposure. Okay, so capital market and commercial real estate, these two are considered as a risky sector. Risky means sensitive sector, that NBFCs, they cannot invest. Okay, they have to invest in a limit for these two sensitive sector. Okay, so there is a limit actually, right? So this answer is D, that is capital market and commercial real estate. Then the next is, which of the following statement regarding the regulatory restriction on NBFCs are incorrect? Okay, that is incorrect, we have to find out. Option A is NBFCs are subject to regulatory, subject to regulatory restriction on granting loan and advance to their director, their relative, and entities where director or their relative have a major shareholder. These NBFCs are required to ensure that borrowers have obtained prior permission from government and local authority for real estate project during the loan appraisal. ठीक है. C is the large exposure framework applies to all NBFCs. ठीक है, irrespective of their regulatory layer. NBFCs in the upper layer are required to establish the internal exposure limit, ठीक है, for all the sector other than the capital market and commercial real estate sector. So which one is the right answer? Which one is the right answer? See, the right answer here is we are asking about the regulatory restriction on banking finance companies incorrect. ठीक है, the first one is NBFC are subject to regulatory restriction on granting loan and advance to the director, their relative, and the entities where director or their relative have a major shareholder. That is true. So that is not the answer. That is a correct one. ठीक है, we have to find out the incorrect. NBFCs are required to ensure that borrower have obtained prior permission from government and local authorities for real estate project during the loan appraisal. ठीक है, so that is they have to obtain the permission from the government and local authorities. ठीक है, large exposure framework apply to all NBFCs, so that is the incorrect. ठीक है, this is the totally incorrect. Upper layer are required to establish internal exposure limit for sector other than the capital and commercial. So that is also the correct one. So C is the right answer because the large exposure framework is not applicable to the base layer. That is applicable to the upper layer and top layer and middle layer. ठीक है, which of the following is not a requirement for NBFCs regarding the governance matter? Option A is formulating the whistleblower mechanism for director and employee to report concern. B is ensuring good corporate governance practice only in the main NBFC entity, not its subsidiary. C is delineating the role of various committee and establishing the calendar of review. And D is ensuring compliance with governance practice in the subsidiary of NBFCs. So what is the right answer? What is the right answer? Which of the following is not a requirement? Right? See, out of this, the whistleblower policy, yes, this is required, of course. Ensuring good corporate governance practice only in the main NBFC entity, not its subsidiaries. Deleting the role of various committees, stabilize the calendar of review, ensuring compliance with governance practice in the subsidiaries of the NBFCs. We have to find out that not a requirement. Okay, so that is right answer is B. It is not like that we have to ensure the good corporate governance only in the NBFCs. Even in the subsidiaries also we have to apply the good corporate governance. A very good evening to all of you. So this is your CAIIB ABM class, right? And today I am going to take some questions from the module B, right? So in this module B, we are going to have some question from the different chapters of module B. See, module B is definitely a very important one. And in this chapter, what we are going to cover, see, here we are going to cover some question from the performance appraisal method and some question from the training and development, right? So I have taken first question, that is from the evaluation of training, which is done at the 4 level, right? Now this is from the evaluate the effectiveness of the training, right? So when we use the effectiveness of the training, then we are talking about the Kirkpatrick model here. Okay, that is Kirkpatrick model, right? So what is the meaning of Kirkpatrick model? See, this model normally we use for the to evaluate the effectiveness of the training, right? And we have total 4 component here, that is reaction, learning, behavior and result. Okay, so number 1 is here, that is reaction. The reaction actually where we have to find out the immediate reaction of the employee, immediate response, right? So whether they have liked the training or not. Normally instrument which we use this, that is normally the questionnaire, right? Second is the learning level. What is the learning level? See, at the learning level normally we assess pre-test learning and the post-test learning. Okay, that we have to compare. Suppose I have went through some computer training. So what was my level before attending the training and after attending the training? Okay, then what is the third one is, that is behavioral. Behavioral is how you are using that training in your day-to-day behavior. Okay, and result is what is the impact of your training on the ROI of the organization or the profit of the organization, right? So the third is, that is cognitive, and the last one is the functioning. Okay, so here which one is not one of them? That is cognitive. Okay, functioning level is also one of them. Functioning and result, these both are same term. Okay, result and functioning both are same. Okay, then now the second question is, right, the second question is about the, that is from the chapter of attitude. Okay, from the chapter of attitude, that is what is the meaning of attitude? See, the attitude is actually, that is your feeling. Okay, that is your perception about any object, about maybe like anything. Okay, about any object, any person, or it can be anything, I mean, right? So that is what is your feeling, what is your perception, that is called it as a attitude. Normally we have the 4 attitude function, that is adjustment, ego defensive, right? Then value expression and knowledge function. So what is the meaning of adjustment function? Okay, the adjustment function is, this is the attitude which is based on how you adjust in the given situation. Okay, now what is the ego defensive? Ego defensive is how you trying to protect your self image. Okay, value expression is what? Value expression is, that is the attitude which is based on your value. And what is the knowledge function? The knowledge function is based on the knowledge. Okay, so these are the 4 attitude function we have. Then the third is from the Erik Erikson 8 stages of personality theory. So Erik Erikson divided life into the 8 stages, of which 4 are in the childhood and 4 in the adulthood. Which of the following is not an adulthood stage? Toddler, adolescence, adulthood and maturity. Tell me which one is the right answer? Right? When we are talking about the Erik Erikson, he has divided life into the 8 stages. Okay? 4 stages are from the childhood and 4 stages are from the adulthood. So which one is not the adulthood stage? See, as you can see here, this is the Erik Erikson 8 stage theory, right? So first stage is the infancy, second is the early childhood, third is the preschool, fourth is the school age, fifth is the adolescence, sixth is the young adulthood, 7 is the middle adulthood, and the last one is the maturity. Okay, so these are the 8 stages according to the person, right? The number 1 is, that is infancy. So normally at that point of time you are just infant, newborn baby. Okay, so trust versus mistrust, this feeling normally comes. Okay, then when you grow as a toddler, right, 1 to 3 years, that is early childhood stage, at that point of time autonomy versus shame and doubt comes. Okay, you started to doing things by your own, right? That is autonomy versus shame and doubt. Then preschool stage, that is 3 year to 6 year. Now what happened at that stage? At that point of time you're trying to take the initiative. Okay, then the next is school age, 6 year to 12 year. Industry versus inferiority. Normally at that point of time the feeling of competency comes within you. Okay, that everyone is doing, why I'm not. Okay, so that is a school age, right? So that is a school age, right? Industry versus inferiority. Then the adolescence, that is 13 year to 18 year, right? Identity versus role confusion. At that point of time, right, normally you are trying to find out the identity of yourself. Okay, you are trying to find out the identity of yourself, right? So at that point of time you are trying to find that who am I. Okay, then the young adulthood begins. Young adulthood is, that is 18 year to 35 year. Intimacy versus isolation. You are trying to build relationship with the other person, right? Then middle adulthood comes. What is the meaning of middle adulthood? The middle adulthood is, that is right from the around like that is from the age of 35 to 50 year. Normally gentility versus stagnation. At that point of time you are giving ideas to the other person of the society. And the last is the maturity, ego integrity versus disappear, right? So what is the feeling of ego integrity versus disappear? At that point of time what happened is, at that point of time the feeling of, right, whether you have achieved in your life something or not. Okay, at that point of time you're trying to find out that, okay, whatever meaning you had in your life, what you have actually achieved, whether your life was meaningful or whether your life was the successful or meaningless. Okay, that you're trying to achieve, right? Okay, chale. So now we are trying to find out that, okay, now what is the question exactly is? The question is about the 4 stages are from the childhood and 4 from the adulthood, right? So which one is not the adulthood? That is toddler. Next is, at what stage Erikson theory of psychosocial development does an infant develop a sense of trust? That is school age, preschool, infancy or early childhood. What is the right answer? Right? What is the answer of this one? See, the answer of this one is, that is infancy stage. Okay, infant stage you are. So that is a Erikson theory of psychosocial development. Does an infant develop a sense of trust? So that is infancy stage. Next question is, what is the chronological sequence of career role which is experienced by Dalton, Thompson and Price? Okay, he has given the 4 roles. That is apprentice, number 1, colleague, number 2, number 3 is mentor and number 4 is sponsor, that is. Okay, so what he has given is that means he has given that is apprentice, colleague, right, mentor and sponsor one. Okay, so what is the chronological sequence of career role which he has given? Okay, the first one is the apprentice. Now what is the meaning of apprentice? ठीक है. What is the meaning of apprentice? The apprentice is when you are the fresher, ठीक है, at the fresher level, right? When you are at the fresher level, ठीक है, at that point of time. Now what happened here is, that is, you're just the fresher at that point of time, and you're very dependent upon the other person in your organization, ठीक है. Then colleague stage, when you gain some experience, around like 1 year 3-year experience you are having, at that point of time, right? What happened is, you are not that much dependent on your superior, okay? You are dependent but not that much. You have gained some experience, you have learned something. Then the third is, that is mentor. What is a mentor? When you are, right, when you are giving ideas to the other person. And the sponsor is when you are the part of the top management, okay? So that is the last one, that is sponsor stages, right? So what is the right sequence? A means that is fourth, so B is the right answer. That is ACMS, okay? ACMS, right? Which of the following is a mismatch in the career concept as per the Michael Driver? Okay, Michael Driver, he has given the 4 career concept. Okay, linear, steady, transitory, and spiral. So what is a linear? That is a upward movement in the different organization in same domain. Okay. Second is, so which one is a mismatch? We have to try to find out the wrong one. Second is, steady state career is acquire higher skill but not to go up in the hierarchy. Okay. Then the third is transitory career pattern, shifting from one job to another without acquiring any excellence. Then the last is the spiral one. Okay. Take new job, work hard, perform well, and move up in the status, then move to the another kind of job. So you have to find out that which one is the mismatch. Okay, first of all, please read very carefully. Right? What is the full form of this? See, the first one is actually the right answer. Okay, here upward movement in different organization in same domain. Okay, so basically what we are doing here is, that is a totally upward movement. Upward means you are working in the different organization in the same domain. Okay, upward movement, that is a linear concept, right? Steady state career is what? That is acquire higher skill but choose not to go up in the hierarchy. Okay, so this is the actually a wrong one. That means this is a right answer. This is the actual mismatch. When we are talking about the linear career concept, that means we have to go upward movement in the same organization, okay, within the same domain, right? Then steady state career is what? Acquire higher skill but choose not to go up in the hierarchy. Okay, so that is what? That is actually when you are going the higher skill but you are not going up in the hierarchy. Okay, then we have the transitory. Transitory is what? Shifting one job from the one to another without acquiring any excellence, without acquiring anything. Spiral is what? You have worked hard, okay, you have joined somewhere, you have worked hard, performed well, and then again you are going down, then again you have started another type of job, then you are doing well. So you have gained some experience, you have gained some rank, and here it is like this. You are starting from the zero again. You have worked 1 year or 2 years, then again you are starting zero from the zero. You have not gained anything. Okay, so that is one is the right answer. A personal sense of type of work individual want to pursue and what work or career means to one is called. That is career dimension, career planning, career anchor and career path. Okay. Which one is the right answer? That is technical, functional competence, managerial competence, security, creativity and autonomy. Which one is the right answer? Right. So what is a personal sense of type of work individual want to pursue and what work or career means to one is called. Okay. Career dimension, planning, anchor or path. Tell me which one is the right answer? Which one is the right answer? Right. See, when we are talking about the, that is work individual want to pursue, that means we are talking about the career anchor. Edgar Sitchin, he has given the 5 career anchor. See, the number 1 is, that is technical career anchor. Number 2 is managerial competence. Number 3 is security. Right. Number 4 is creativity and the autonomy. Right. So, what is the meaning of technical or functional competence? That means when we are talking about technical field, that means a field where you are fall in love with. Okay, that is a technical competence. Right. Okay. So when we are talking about the managerial competence, what is the meaning of managerial competence? That means you're having the, like you are having the interest in where you can got the promoted, you can manage the people. Then the third one is, that is security. Okay, that is called it as a security. Now what is a security? That means you want to join some organization where you can have the autonomy of work. Okay. Right. So when we are talking about the career anchor, then the third is, that is creativity, where you can explore the things. Then autonomy, where you don't want to join the organization, you do not want to join the organization life. Okay.
Hi friends, welcome to Adda 24/7. We are in the Scholar series for ABM. In this we are covering the important objective questions, important theory, as well as the important numericals. So follow the series completely. Okay, let's start. So let's start with the simulation exercises. Simulation, remember, it is the easiest chapter in your complete ABM. But even though it is easiest, don't take it lightly because there are certain questions related to the simulation exercises which are asked. So focus on them very properly. Let's start. Which of the following statement regarding the simulation is correct? So now you have to find out whichever is correct. Always remember in exam, you have to focus on what is asked, whether correct is asked or wrong is asked. If they want wrong, then you have to click on correct and the wrong one. Okay. So what is the one? Let's see. First one. Simulation is a way of studying effects of changes in the real world through models. So is simulation the same? B. Simulation is the imitation of some real thing or the process. C. In simulation, it is tried to imitate a system or environment in order to predict the actual behavior, and all of the above. Now, firstly, understand what is simulation. Simulation means, suppose whenever, have you seen simulation anywhere? Whenever you go to, let's say, any new construction flat, suppose if you want to buy a new flat, whenever you go to buy a new flat, the building is not ready at all many a times. They just show you some prototype, some model which they prepare. So what is that model? That model is a smaller image or smaller 3D image of what the real building will be, right? So this is basically the simulation. Similarly, in simulation, whenever you go for admission in any college, what do? Do you go and check this college practically? No, you check on the prospectus. What is that? That is a sort of simulation. It will give you the image of that college, right? So that is simulation. So now which of the following are correct over here? Which of the following statements are correct? Yeah, they are number one. Yeah, which of them are correct? Simulation is a way of studying effects of changes in the real world through models. That is correct. Simulation is the imitation of some real thing or the process. So that is also correct. In simulation, it is tried to imitate a system or environment in order to predict the actual behavior. This is the most important one. Okay, because here we try to imitate a system or environment. Actually, we try to, in finance also, we use the simulation. We see various scenarios, and based on those scenarios, we create the various effects of those scenarios. Okay, so in simulation, it is tried to imitate a system or environment in order to predict the actual behavior and all of the above. So the correct answer is D, all of the above. Okay, everyone answer in the comment section. Acting out or mimicking an actual or probable real life situation or event to find the cause of the past occurrence or to forecast the future effects of the assumed circumstances or factors is called as, what is this? This is on the similar lines of that earlier question, isn't it? Acting out of mimicking an actual or probable real life situation. What did we say about this simulation? Same thing, isn't it? To find out the past occurrence. Past occurrence means what had happened in the past, or to forecast the future effects. Now, this means that considering the various scenario analysis or factors is called as simulation, linear programming, probability, regression. Now look at this. Simulation you might have guessed the answer by now. Type in the comment section. Linear programming. Programming is altogether a separate chapter. In LPP, what do? We study various linear equations. We try to bring everything into the linear equations and then we try to study them. Probability is totally different. There are three types of probabilities, right? Bernoulli, this binomial and Poisson. These are the three main probabilities for your CAIIB. Kindly follow the this probability lecture also. Regression and correlation, again different chapters. Regression and correlation are related to two elements, the relationship between the two elements. So this mimicking an actual probable real life situation, what can be the answer for this? The answer is simple, isn't it? Let me see in the comment section. It is A, right? Got it? Simulation can be used to, means why do we use the simulation? To find causes of the past occurrences only. To forecast the future effects of any occurrence only, means only this. Find the causes of the past occurrence and to forecast the future effects of an occurrence. Neither to find out the causes of past occurrence nor to forecast the future effects of any occurrence. Now obviously D is not the answer. Okay, neither is not the answer. Now only you'll get confused over here whether to type A or B or C. Again you will get confused between B and C because A also past occurrence only, that is not the right answer. So you will get confused between B and C. Now type in the comment section, let me see. Okay, let me see everyone. The answer is, yeah. Is it B or C? The answer is C. Correct. The answer is C. Because it is used for past also as well as to forecast the future also. Right? So that C is the answer. Simulation is appropriate where? Now look at the options. Where? Size of the problem makes the size of other techniques difficult or impossible. Complexity of the problem makes the use of other techniques difficult or impossible. Problem is impossible to be solved. So where do we use the simulation? In which case? Size of the problem makes the size of other techniques difficult or impossible. Means what? Suppose imagine I have to do some changes in my software, banking software. If I have to bring totally new software, so is it possible for me without testing just to bring the whole software new, and one night I'll bring the whole software new in the bank and tell everyone to operate on it? It's not possible, right? That will create a chaos. That is the meaning of this first sentence. Size of the problem makes the size of other techniques difficult or impossible. I can't implement the software, new software in a bank, because without telling anyone or without doing the testing. So doing the testing is known as simulation. In simulation, what do we do whenever we test the software? We create a dummy environment, right? And in that dummy environment, we do all the checkings, correct? Complexity of a problem makes the use of other techniques difficult or impossible. That is also a point. See here, important part over here is size. Second is complexity also, because finance is the most complex field in this world, right? Because complexity. Suppose again come back to the same example. Suppose if you go for this software changing the software. So that is so complex. There are so many fields in the banking, retail, corporate, then we have mutual funds, in third party products, then contingent liabilities like LCs, bank guarantees. So that's why these are just the four which I have told you. There are almost 7 to 8 fields. So these fields make it difficult for change of software at abruptly. Problem is impossible to be solved. Is there any problem which is impossible to be solved? Now you answer. Is the answer A to 3 all? B, A and B, 1 and 2 only? C, 1 and 3 only? And D, 2 and 3 only? So what can be the answer for this? Everyone? Yeah, answer is correct. Type in the comment sections. Yes, the answer is this B, 1 and 2 only. Because 3 can't be the answer. You can't have any problem in finance which is impossible to be solved. Okay. Simulation can be used, number 1, with traditional statistical techniques, with traditional management techniques, without the traditional statistical techniques, without the traditional management techniques. Now this is a bit easy to understand, isn't it? With traditional statistical techniques, with traditional management techniques. So it can be used with both of them. Without traditional statistical techniques. So do I understand this here? Can be used with traditional statistical techniques means what? Are the statistical techniques in my regular working required to be added or to be supplemented by simulation? Or is simulation required to be supplemented by my traditional techniques? Can simulation work without my traditional statistical techniques? Can simulation work without my traditional management techniques? So which one is correct? Only one is correct. Only two is correct. 1 and 2 are correct. And 3 and 4 are correct. Which one is correct over here? Now this is a bit tricky one. Because if you get such question in exam, you will definitely get tricked over here. Okay. Now think and type in the comment section. Let me see. Okay. I'm seeing the correct answers are here. It is this 1 and 2. 1 and 2 are correct because remember in finance nothing is independent. Nothing is independent. You have to always use everything in connection with the other one. So traditional statistical techniques, traditional management techniques, these are to be used in connection, in togetherness with simulation. You can't have anything individually working over here. Okay. So 1 and 2 both are correct. In which of the following simulation can be applied? So where can the simulation be applied? Air traffic control, queuing and aircraft maintenance, assembly line scheduling and inventory reorder design, railroad operations and facility layout, and all of the above. Simulation means what? What did we study about simulation now? Simulation was basically this mimicking the actual life situation in the form of a prototype. So where can you use this? You can use in all of these. Air trafficking control, you can use it. Assembly line scheduling, you can use it. Railroad operations, you can use it. So answer is D, all of the above, right? Now some theory, last part of this topic, theory, forecasting technique. Now forecasting technique, there are two methods. Auto-regressive, three methods, not two. Auto-regressive, then moving average, and last one is ARMA, combination. What is auto-regressive? In auto-regressive model, we forecast the variable of interest using linear combination of the past values of the variable. Look at this, linear combination. Okay. Remember this word which I have highlighted. In exam, auto-regressive model will have this word linear combination. The term auto-regressive indicates that a regression of the variable against itself, against itself. Okay. The AR part involves regression of the variable on its own lagged values. So lagged means what? Past values. These two sentences are same. Against itself and lagged values. Okay. MA means what? Moving average. In this time series analysis, moving average, also known as moving average process, used for modeling univariate time series. See, this univariate word will be there in moving average. It involves modeling error term as a linear combination of error terms occurring contemporaneously. Means what? What is this contemporaneously? So big word. This is latest one, latest. Whichever is the latest will get the highest weightage and various times of the period. So from exam point of view, remember auto-regressive means linear combination and own lagged. Moving average means what? Univariate. And if they give you this word contemporaneously, then it is MA. And now it's a combination, ARMA. Third one, ARMA model or auto-regressive moving average model. ARMA model describes a time series in terms of two polynomials. Remember, again underlined words, two polynomials. The first of these polynomials is autoregression and the second is moving average. So it's a combination. The model is a combination of AR and MA model. In this model, the impact of previous lags and residuals are considered to forecast the future values of the time series. Okay, future values. So it is a combination of these, and previous and residuals are used to give the future values. Now these are in the short I have given. Auto-regressive previous time steps, and next this uses observations from previous time steps as input to the regression equation to predict the next time step. Moving average MA states that the next observation is the mean of every past observation. Auto-regressive model uses the time series data to either better understand the data set or to predict the future values. So importantly, what you remember, these earlier two slides are very important from the exam point of view. AR is linear and own-lagged. Moving average is univariate and contemporaneously. Then ARMA model is combination of these two. Okay. So and this line is important. Impact of previous lags and residuals are considered. Okay. Previous lags and residuals both. Now the last, which I was telling, why do we have this x multiplied by 2? Okay. Now this slide, let me check if I am having it over here. Why do we have to multiply this x by 2 over here? Okay. Let me see. I had prepared one slide for this. Let me see if I am having it. No. One second. No, it's not there. Okay. I'll tell you. Why do we multiply with this? Forget this slide. Okay. What is there difficulty in it? See here. The problem over here is, why do we multiply this by 2? Because look at this. X, whenever we have even numbers, even. Okay. What was the x values? Minus 1.5, something like that. It was in points. So whenever it is in points, it's difficult to calculate. In points, it is very difficult to do the calculations. So if I multiply by 2, then what happens? 1.5 becomes 3. So now this is easy. And that's why we multiply by this x by 2. Whenever we have even number of elements, we multiply this x by 2. Why? Because taking the x values, even if you take the same value without multiplying, then also it won't make much difference. But the problem is that the difficulty level in calculations on the calci also, checking the point and doing the calculations is difficult part. So if you have even simple natural numbers, it's very easy to calculate. Okay, from the start, let's start. First, important theory we'll be covering, because these definitions are also equally important and you need to understand the concept. After that, we'll be covering the numericals. Okay, so if the frequency, first topic is frequency. If the value of the variable, example, discrete or continuous. What is discrete? What is continuous? Sure. Every word we'll discuss first and then we'll go ahead. So if the value of the variable, whether it's discrete or continuous, discrete means what? Separable. Separable means what? 1, 2, 3. Separable. Each can be separated. Continuous means what? Suppose like this: 0 to 5, 5 to 10. These are all continuous variables. So which occur in a you can say a gap, or you can say a fixed interval. Okay. So if the value of the variable, discrete or continuous, example height, weight, income, occurs twice or more in a given series of observations. Okay, twice or more in a given series of observations, then the number of occurrences of the value is termed as frequency. So this is an important definition from exam point of view. In exam, this word twice or more will be important for you. Okay. So anything which appears twice or more will be called as frequency. In exam, sometimes you get the numericals also. In that numerical, the frequency is 1 upon 10. So that is the frequency. So that in numerical you can write it 1. But remember, from the definition point of view, occurs twice or more is known as a frequency. The way of representing a data in form of table consisting of values of a variable with the corresponding frequencies is called as frequency distribution. What is distribution? The way of representing the data in form of table. Okay, in form of table means
here. Suppose if I take this only 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15 and so on. So when I make the table out of this, okay, this is known as my class and this is known as my frequency. Okay, now I'll explain it. Suppose if I'm having these numbers 1, 2, 3, then let's say 3 again, then 3 again, then 4. Okay, and I start writing these classes now 0 to 5. Okay, 0 to 5. So let me make it like this. 0 to 5 means everything will be over here only. So let me make it 0 to 2. Let me make it smaller classes. Okay, 0 to 2, 2 to 4, 2 to 4, and then go on 4 to 6, so on. Okay, so 0 to 2, how many will be there? 0 to 2, how many are there from 0 to 2? Now remember, 0 to 2 means what? Will 2 be considered in this? No, 2 will be in the next class. Always 2 means 0 to 2 means less than 2. Okay, so here the frequency is 1 only. 2 to 4, 2 to 4. Now look at this. Starting from 2 over here, then 3, 3, 3, and now 4 will be there. No, 4 will be in the next class. So this is 4 times. So this becomes 0 to 4 is 4. So this is known as a frequency. And this table is known as frequency distribution table, in which I arrange it in proper manner. So representing the frequency in form of a table so that it is easily understood. Okay, so that is frequency distribution table. Class boundaries. So now there are two types of class boundaries. Remember, what is the class boundary? I'll give you a simple example. Now, just now we saw the classes means what? 0 to 5, 5 to 10. Now it can be two types. What are the two types? Let's say I divide it like this. How? Let me think. Let's keep it simple. 10 to 10 to 14, 15 to 19, 20 to 24. Look at this. Both are inclusive over here. Okay, 10 is also included, 14 is also included. So suppose if I get 10, where will I place this 10 over here in this group? Suppose if I get 14, where will I place this over in this group? Suppose if I get 17, I'll place it in this group. I get 19, I'll place it in this group, second group. Okay, I get 24, I'll place it in this third group. So this group where the upper and the lower boundary is included is known as inclusive group. Inclusive. Okay, got it? Inclusive means where the upper and the lower boundary is limit, you can call it maximum, minimum. Those are included is known as inclusive class. And what is exclusive then? Now if I have to convert this, here, inclusive classes can be converted to exclusive classes. So it has to be, while solving any numerical, inclusive class has to be converted to exclusive class. What do you mean by this? See this, it's like this. This 10, what will I do? I'll take 0.5 on the other side, earlier side, and 14 I'll take 0.5 on the other later side. Okay, so it will be what? 9.5, and here 14.5. Now the second part, 15 I'll take 0.5 on the other side, so it is 14.5 and 19.5. This now 20 I'll take it 19.5 and then 24.5 and so on. I'll go on and on and on. So what does it mean? See, this is known as exclusive. Exclusive. This earlier one was inclusive. Now what do you mean by this? It means that, see, this boundary over here, it won't be included. Now understand, it's not compulsory that both the boundaries are not included. For example, in this, suppose if I get 14.5 as a number, 14.5. So that 14.5 will not be included in this, but it will be included in this. So exclusive doesn't mean both the boundaries are excluded. It can be either one boundary or both the boundaries, or the upper boundary or the lower boundary. Anything is called as exclusive. So in this case, generally what we follow in your CAIIB is, we follow that any number, okay, which is on the boundary will always be included in the next class. Means 14.5, I'll be including it over here. 19.5. I'll be including it over here. Okay. So that is the meaning of exclusive and inclusive. While solving any numerical, this is the important discrimination. This is the important class. We never use inclusive class while solving the numericals. Never ever. We always use exclusive. Even if you have inclusive class, you have to convert it to exclusive. You have to convert it, remember. Okay. And the new class intervals is called as class boundaries. Okay, now this is remaining thing is simple. The same thing I have explained you. Okay, let's move on. You can read this if you want. Okay. Everyone subscribe to Officers Adda 24/7 YouTube channel. In this channel, you will be getting the latest updates plus this from IABF plus free YouTube series. Okay, that's why subscribe to this channel. Click on the bell icon immediately. Okay, free YouTube series. Right now, you are watching the same. So you'll be getting the same in the channel. Now, how to join this series? There are 2-3 ways. One is you can join our Telegram channel. So this class, scan this blue code. Just expand this and scan this blue code. Okay, similarly this black code, QR code. Scan it to get your YouTube channel. Similarly this Insta you can just scan it and you'll get it on the Insta. Why joining this all these channels? Why should you join? Because we share, remember, 2-3 things. Okay, 2-3 important things we share over here. What are those? See, remember, we share importantly the free YouTube series. Okay. Secondly, free questions, you get it over here. Free questions, tests, you get it over here. Okay. So that's why you should join this immediately. The type of cumulative frequency where the frequencies are added starting from the highest class to the lowest class is called as highest to lowest. Now, what do you mean by this? Suppose if these are the classes, let me explain it. Suppose if the classes are, let me make it simple. Okay. 0 to 5. Class means what? Upper limit, lower limit. 5 to 10, 10 to 15 and so on. Okay. Okay, let's take 3 classes. 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15. Now suppose if I arrange them in this way. What? 10 to 15. Then below I go 5 to 10. Then below I go 0 to 5. In that case, if I go in this way, it is called as what? This is the question. The type of cumulative frequency where the frequencies are added starting from the highest class to the lowest class is known as what? Relative frequency, percentage frequency, less than cumulative and greater than cumulative. What is it called as? Type in the comment section. Everyone, let me see. Type it in the comment section. Name itself. Naam hi kafi hai. What is the name? Where is it starting from? It is starting from the highest one. So that's why greater than, isn't it? Navi kafi hai, that's what. If you are arranging it in this way, see, this is greater than, I'll write it over here. GT, I'll just write it, okay? Greater than. And if I arrange it like this, 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, okay? Then what do I get? I get less than, LT. Okay, this less than, okay? Got it clear? Next one. The following table gives less than type frequencies distribution of income per day. What is the income? Which income is a mode? So I want a mode now. So look at this. This is known as a class, and this is known as the frequency. So which one is this? Frequency. Which is the maximum frequency? Mode means what? Any class which is having the maximum frequency. So which is the maximum frequency over here? 100. So the model class is this 1500. Simple, isn't it? In exam such numericals if you get, it is just a cakewalk for you. Okay. The data of some workers is given 2300. All these things numbers are given. If the desired number of class intervals is 10, what is the class width? Now this you might have done earlier. I might have taken it earlier also. See here, it's very simple. Firstly, let me see how many of you are answering this. So suppose if it is like this, see, width equals to range divided by number. Number means this number of class, how many intervals are required. What is range? Range equals to highest minus lowest, h minus n. What is the highest one now over here? Tell me, highest. Which number is highest? 23, 24, 25, 21, 2000, 22, blah, 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 blah. This 3000. So 3000 minus which is the lowest? 2000. So it is 1000, right? 1000. So what is my width then? Width equals to 1000 upon number. What is the number? 10. So my class width will be 100. So this is my answer. Okay. Everyone download Adda 24/7 app on your mobile. In this app, you will be getting the premium study material, plus live classes, ebooks, tests. Whatever we require for clearing JIB and CIB, we get it over here. Immediately download and start studying. Not just download. Okay, start studying. Okay. The class where the upper and the lower limits are also in the class interval is called as. Have we done this? No, I was explaining you at that time. Yeah. So this is the same question which we have done it. Upper and the lower limits are also in the class interval. So they are in the class interval. So it is called as exclusive, inclusive, discrete, continuous. Which is this? Upper and the lower are also in the class interval. Just now I told you, right, that what 10 to 14, 15 to 19, right? So upper and lower, I told you, if I get 14, it will be in this class, right? So this is known as inclusive, right? And then we have to convert this to exclusive. I've shown you earlier, so we won't be repeating it now, okay? The following table gives the distribution of 100 families according to their expenditure. Find a model class. Simple. Let me see who can give me the fastest answer. Model class. Model means what? Just now we did model. What was mode? Model means that class which is having the highest frequency. So which is having the highest frequency? Number of families. This is F. Remember, class is always this class, or we call it X also. X or class only, call it X class. Because for this class we have a class mark. That's a separate part. We'll do this someday else. So which is the model class over here? Highest frequency 27. So which is the model class? This. Now if you want to find the mode of this, there is a separate formula. That's a big formula. Okay. So that's why I would suggest you to join the paid classes over here. Okay. The runs scored by the batsman for 5 ODIs are this. Find the mean, median and mode. Okay, simple one. Let's do it. Mean. Okay, what is the mean? Mean means average. Okay, mean is always average. Average. So what is the average? Total then. 31 plus 97 plus 112 plus 63 plus 12. Okay, 31 plus 97. Now do it. By the time I write it, you do it, everyone. 112 plus 63 plus 12. Okay, so what is the answer? This total, the whole upon number of elements, 5. So this will be my mean, whatever that answer is. Okay, everyone do it. Let me see who is getting the answer over here. Yeah, who's getting it? Everyone, do it fast. See, exams are near, so you need to do it fast. Yeah, everyone. Yeah. So what is it? Let me see. Yeah. 31 plus 97 plus 112 plus 63 plus 12, right? So total is 315. 315 divided by 5. That is what? 63? 63 is my mean, right? Mean is 63. Median. What about the median then? Median means always arrange them in the serial order. Means what? From the lowest to highest. We'll arrange them in ascending order. 12. Then what is the next one? After 12, the blah 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 blah. 31. 31. After 31, 63. After 63, 97. After 97, 112. Okay, so which is the median? The central one. This is my median. Okay. Mode means which occurs maximum number of times. Who's occurring maximum number of times? None of them is repeated. So all are modes.
Hello everyone. A very good evening to all of you, and good evening to all of you, and welcome to Officer Adda 24/7. So my name is Suprabha and I'm your ABM mentor, right? So in English medium, the new batch is going to start from the 13th of February. Okay, so the name of the batch is, that is, Victory Batch, right? The name of the batch is, that is victory batch, and it is going to start from the 13th of February. Okay, so please do not forget to join this batch if you are preparing for the CIB exam, right? So ABM I have already started in the latest batch, that was the Shapath batch, our resolution batch, right? That in that batch I have already started ABM, and currently module B is already started. Okay, so I have taken question from the module B itself. The number one question, first question is, okay, a person Sechin, okay, a person is using Sechin career anchor self assessment tool to make better career choice. Among the 8 career anchor, he find himself in the technical functional competence category. Actually, originally Edgar Sechin, he has given the 8 career anchor. Okay, but in your book there are 5 career anchor basically. The 5 career anchor which Edgar Sechin has given is, number 1 is technical, okay, or functional. Number 2 is managerial, okay. Then number 3 is autonomy. Number 4 is security or stability, and number 5 is creativity. Okay, so there are 5 career anchor Edgar Sechin has given. The question is, which of the following career will be good for him? Option A, that is a create an organization of their own. B is artist or musician. C is engineering or maybe the teaching career, and D is police or the military career. So tell me, which one is the right answer? Which one is the right answer? Right? See, when we are talking about the technical and functional competence, right? That means we are talking about the technical field in which you are fall in love with. Okay, so the answer is here engineering and teaching. This is the category of creativity. Okay, this is the creativity, and this is the autonomy, and this is your category of, that is maybe security also. Okay, so here the answer is engineering. In the Zohari window, a very important topic, the information know about yourself and other also know about you. Is your open self, is your blind self, is your hidden self, or is it your unknown self? Which one is the right answer? Tell me. See, Zohari window is actually a very important topic. It is. Okay, if when we are talking according to the exam point of view, then definitely it is a very important topic. Okay, so Zohari window, we have the 4 windows here. Okay, that is arena, blind, closed, and dark. So arena is what? Arena is the area where information is known to you and known to other as well. Blind is where information is known to other but not known to you. Okay, you are not getting the enough feedback from your teammates, from your colleague. So at that point of time, what happened is you don't know about yourself. Okay, not knowing about yourself, actually other knows about you, so that is blind. C is what? That is your hidden area. Okay, the information which actually you know but other don't know. Okay, they don't know about you. And dark is the information which even you don't know and other also don't, both. Okay, so here we are talking about the information known about yourself and other also knows about you. That means you are very talkative type of person, right? You are very talkative and you normally ask the feedback from other. You are very open type of person, so we called it as a arena. Okay, this is a arena, right? Open self. So the answer is A here. This is your open self, this is your hidden self, this is your blind self, and this is your dark or unknown area. Okay, so your answer is open self. The third question is, the concept of self-efficacy was introduced by Albert Bandura, Sigmund Freud, Carl Roger, or B.F. Skinner. Which one is the right answer? Please tell me. The concept of self-efficacy. See, what is the meaning of self-efficacy? The self-efficacy is actually, it is your ability, that how you deal with the situation. That is actually your belief. It is a person belief in their ability to complete the task or achieve the goal. Okay, so that is your actually determination, self determination, that how much self determinant you are for your goal. Okay, so whatever hurdle you are facing, right, you have to overcome that hurdle. So that is actually your belief in your capacity to normally act in a way that you will be reach your specific goal. So how much self determination you have, how much, I mean, what is your capacity to achieve the goal, right? Maybe for example, there is I have already given in the class also, I have already given the example of Yuvraj Singh, right? In the year 2011 World Cup, he was fighting with the cancer. That was a very difficult situation in his life, but again he fought that situation and he succeed in his goal to got that World Cup, right? So basically this concept is given by the Albert Bandura. Self-efficacy is your ability to reach your goal even if you are facing any difficulties. Okay, so that is your belief, that is your belief in your ability, that yes, I am going to complete that task, I am going to achieve my goal. Okay, so it is your ability to cope up with the situation, to fight with the situation, right? That is called it as a self-efficacy. Actually this concept given by the Albert Bandura, right? And that is a very important concept actually, right? So Albert Bandura actually self-efficacy concept he has given. Normally it was the concept related to the behavioral change. Okay, normally like normal people na, if they are facing any difficult situation, normally they won't try to overcome from that situation and they will fail normally. So self-efficacy, right? What is the meaning of self-efficacy? The self-efficacy is your actually, it is your belief in your ability. Hindi mein it is called Atma Shamta. Okay, so it is your capability to accomplish the task, to achieve the goal. Atma Shamta. In Hindi we called it as a Atma Shamta, right? Atma Shamta. So it is your capability, it is your ability to achieve the goal, to complete the task. Albert Bandura, a very famous psychologist, he has given this concept. Define the internal locus of control. In the topic of self development, we have done this topic, that is locus of control, right? So your option is when someone attributed success to something outside of their control. B is when someone bases their success on their own work and ability to control the outcome. C is the thought that you control everything and issues that arise when you argue in a group. Okay, in the concept of self development, there is a concept of locus of control. So what is the locus of control? There are two type of locus of control. One is internal and another one is external. Okay, internal is what? Internal is actually whatever happening in your life. Okay, to whom you blame. Okay, you are blaming yourself, that is called it as a internal locus of control. And if you are blaming to other person, okay, your luck, your destiny, your parents, if you are blaming them, then that is called it as a external locus of control. So basically whatever happening in your life, to whom you blame, to yourself or to the other person. Okay, right? So that is called it as a, right, that is called it as a locus of control, right? Internal and external. So option A is when someone attributed success to something outside of their control. Okay, and when someone bases their success on their own work and ability to control the outcome, right? So option 1 is what? when someone attributed success to something outside of their control. Okay? When someone bases their success on their own work and ability to control the outcome. So the option is B here. That means whatever happening in my life, to whom I am blaming? I am blaming to the internal locus of control. That means I am blaming myself. Okay? Whatever happening, whether it is good or whether it is bad, I am blaming myself. Okay? And if I am blaming to the other person, or maybe the luck, or maybe the destiny, that means it is called it as a external locus of control. Okay? So that is internal and external. Fifth is power represent the compliance that is achieved based on the ability to distribute positive benefit that other view as valuable. Okay? So that is legitimate, coercive, reward or expert. Which power we are talking about? Tell me. Which power we are talking about? French and Raven has given the 5 power bases. Okay? Number 1 is legitimate. Okay? Number 2 is coercive. Number 3 is reward. Number 4 is expert. And there is a 5th power also, it is there, that is a referent power. Okay? So what is a legitimate power? Legitimate power is actually that power normally which you gain because of your position, because of your designation. Suppose if you are the chairman, okay, of the PNB, suppose for example, that means you are enjoying the legitimate power. You are having the, right, you are having the basically having the normally it is like, right, you are having some kind of designation, that is a definitely CMD you have, then you are enjoying the legitimate power because of your position, because of your designation. Second is coercive power. Everyone is listening to you because you are threatening them. Okay? You are going to threaten them. So that is a coercive power. Now what is a reward power is? This power you got because you are giving everyone to the praise, reward. Okay? Expert power is this power you gain because of your knowledge. Okay? That is because of your knowledge. So that is a expert powers. Here we are talking about power represent the compliance that is achieved based on the ability to distribute positive benefit that other view as valuable, right? So power represent the compliance that is achieved based on the ability to distribute positive benefit that other view as valuable, that is. So that is legitimate power, coercive power, reward power or expert power. Tell me which one is the right answer. This question is actually a very good question. Okay? Tell me which one is the right answer. When we are talking about the power basis, that means here we are talking about the power represent, right? That means that is the power where we are talking about the ability to distribute the positive benefit that other view as valuable. Tell me which one is the right answer. Right? We are talking about the reward power here. Positive benefit. Positive benefit means praise, right? So that is the positive benefit. Reward means legitimate power is directly based on the charisma of the leader, interpersonal trust and commitment of the manager, a structural position of a manager in the organization and personality trait of a manager, right? So when we are talking about the legitimate power, the legitimate power is actually that is your power which you normally gain because of your designation. Okay? So that is because of what? That is because of your designation, right? So tell me which one is the right answer? Which one is the right answer? Here we are talking about, see, here we are talking about the structural position of the manager in the organization. So that is called it as a legitimate power. This power you gain because of your designation, because of your structural position in the organization. Okay, so whatever position you are having, suppose you are the CMD of the organization, you are the right, so at that point of time you are enjoying this power because of your designation, right? Next is transaction analysis. This is a very famous analysis, right? Here we are talking about the transaction. Transaction is what? Exchange. Exchange of what? Exchange of communication. Okay, we are talking about the exchange of communication, that is from one person to the another person. Here Mr. A and here Mr. B. When there are two persons, they are talking to each other. That means they are interacting something. They are having some type of transaction with each other. Okay, so this analysis basically given by the Eric Berne, a very famous psychologist he was. But what is the transaction analysis exactly is? The transaction analysis exactly is, that is actually we are talking about the transaction of communication. Okay, so here when we are talking about transaction of communication, that means what we are talking about is, right, what we are talking about is there are three type of state. One is parent, another one is adult, and the third one is the child. Okay, so sometime we are in the stage of parent. When we are talking to someone, sometime we behave like a parent, like whatever behavior we have seen in our parent, same we are right, same we are copying. Second, another thing is that is adult. Sometime we behave like a adult. We show normally the logical behavior from our side. Third one is your impulsive behavior. That is your child behavior. Okay, normally the impulsive behavior. So when we are talking to when Mr. A is talking to Mr. B, sometimes he behave like a parent, sometimes he behave like an adult, sometimes he behave like a child. So normally there are two type of things. One is cross transaction and the another one is complementary. Suppose I am talking to you in a normal way. Normal way. For example, I am talking to you what you have cooked in the dinner tonight. But what was your answer is, you gave me the answer like, I have cooked nothing. What should I do? Ulta jawab like. Okay? So that is a crossed answer. Cross transaction is happening. Complementary transaction is what? I am asking you something. What you have cooked in dinner tonight? You are saying, okay, I have cooked this thing. Normal answer, right? So that is a complementary answer you have given to me. Whatever I want to listen, the same answer you gave to me. Okay? Crossed is like a opposite answer, but complementary is like a seedha jawab. Okay? Which I want to listen actually. So that is a complementary transaction. Next is, question is, what is the purpose of studying the transaction analysis? Option A, to know why we get angry, to know why we behave differently at different time, to know why we prostrate, to know why we cry. So when we are talking about the transactional analysis, that means we are talking about the why we are reacting different in the different situation. Okay, so that is actually when we are reacting differently in the different situation, right? So all the viewers, please first of all check, if you are watching this video first time, please subscribe our channel and type Adda 24/7. Answer here is B, that is how we behave differently at the different times. Okay, so please first of all please type Adda 24/7 and here then go by the category of JIB and CIB. CIB June we have, right? Then you have to click on, that is CIB Mahapacks 2.0, and you will be getting the, that is 78% discount by using code Y666. Apply, then 80% discount you will be getting by using the code, that is Y666, plus additional discount 1% when you are using the Adda application. And right, and coin also you can use. So why 666, this code you can use it, right? That is why 666, and you will be getting the extra 1% discount. Apart from that, you will be getting the coins also. So you have to use the code, that is why 666. Apart from this, the new batch, that is victory batch, is going to start from 13th of February, right? So this is the victory batch, right? You have to click on buy now, buy 666, this code you need to apply, right? And the price is 5039. You will be getting 79 discount plus additional 1% if you are using the Adda application, right? So this is a victory batch which we are going to start from the